All right, we are live. I'm Josh Jackson, and I'm joined today by David Bazan of Pedro the Lion, so many other things, on
Hi,
Happiest Hour today. So good to have you.
it's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I've been looking forward to this. And thanks for the last minute switcheroo to get you first and
Oh, yeah,
go a little longer here today.
no problem.
So, as requested, you said you want to get right into the music and play a couple songs, and then we'll talk after the songs. So I'm gonna
Cool.
let you take it away.
All right, thank you. If I'm not losing sleep, I'm probably over it. Might take a couple beats for me to decide. Didn't think you'd take this long to make up for lost time. Can't help wondering why it still feels like both hands over my eyes, both hands over my eyes, both hands over my eyes, both hands over my sometimes twice a week we make ourselves vulnerable. We get a little peek over enemy lines. Even as what weighs on me is tumbling over, I understand that I can't sweat what mystery hides. Both hands over my eyes, both hands over my eyes, both hands over my eyes, both hands over my on a desert Christmas morning, 1981. 1 month shy of 6 years old, in the valley of the sun. My first two-wheel bicycle stood by the tree, my heart thumping in my chest. And though I tried, I couldn't ride one yet. my dad let go of the seat, I rode off and down the road. Somehow I never went back home, but I remember what it was like astride that yellow bike. First freedom, second life, all the places I could ride, leaving early, packing light. That little ache inside, my kingdom for someone to ride with. Now a highwayman who traded in his handlebars, going back and forth in vans and rental cars, on the 10, the 5, the 90, and the 95, in love with every stretch of road. But when I drive them on my own, they remind me what it was like astride that yellow bike, my kingdom for someone. Some folks are loners, and you learn from them. If you've always been a joiner on the move again, but if you keep your legs pumping despite everything, then you can take that sting, you can make it swing. Just remember what it was like astride that yellow bike. First freedom, second life, all the places I could ride, leaving early, packing light. That little ache inside, my kingdom for someone to ride with. Well, you know, I would trade my kingdom for someone to ride with. Thank you.
Oh man, that's so great.
Thanks so much.
It's so good to have you here. It's really hard to believe it's been 18 years since you and me and Damian Gerardo and Nick Purdy were sitting around at East Atlanta restaurant.
Was it? Did we have bowls? Was it a bowl-based restaurant?
I was just trying to remember the name. It was something bowl. Yes, we all got like bowls of food. You could order by the bowl, whatever was in your plate there.
That's pretty
But
crazy.
for the first issue of Paste magazine,
oh right,
that was for the very first issue.
That's crazy. I just watched a tour. I watched a video of a show from that tour. That was in '02, I guess, on the Control tour with Gerardo was on the
2002.
I Break Chairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And T.W. Walsh was first of three, and we all were sharing band members. It was just, I think we were all in the same van, really. Yeah, more or
Really?
less. Yeah.
So that was
That
one
was
van, 3 bands. That was a great tour. It was a great show.
It was fun. And was that at the Earl or was that?
The Earl.
Yeah.
Because the place we ate at was next door to the Earl, and I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of that place.
Yeah,
But
something bowl.
long time ago.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it's nice to be here.
Yeah. So how are you hanging in there in Seattle with all of this?
We're doing okay. We're all staying home, the 4 of us in my household, our household, and I'm doing live streams on Wednesdays every week as like my job,
and that's been pretty great. For me personally, it's the first time I've been home. I was home all fall, and then this kicked in when it did. For us out here, I guess it was March, the first week of March maybe, and this is the longest I've ever been home since I started touring, and certainly even when I wasn't on tour, I was out doing weekend things here and there, and just no travel at all. It's done my system a lot of good. The stress from the narrative that accompanies it almost undoes all of that. But that's what we're trying to balance. So
Yeah, that's been sort of a reoccurring theme as I've talked to musicians who are usually on the road so many weeks of the year, that this is so unusual just to be home. Are there things that you've learned about yourself by slowing down and just not being constantly going?
yeah, I've learned. I've just played guitar a lot more, and I want to make the distinction between play and, I do guitar and singing and songwriting because I love it, but it also is, my job. And as much as I try to keep the fun centered in the job part of it, because that's where everything comes from, it's still not exactly play all of the time. Sometimes it can, it's you're problem solving and you're working and you're writing and you're doing these things, and play, just sitting around and just playing around. And like when I was 18 and 19 and 20, I was a dirtbag who sat on a sofa in whatever house I happened to be in, friends or otherwise, and I was strumming a guitar, sort of annoyingly, maybe aimlessly, meanderingly, and I've just begun to do that a lot more, and that has been the best thing that I've realized about myself, is that I am a dirtbag who sits on a sofa and strums a guitar, and that's good.
That's a beautiful thing. That's
yeah.
that's a wonderful thing to be able to do. And as you've been doing that, have there been sort of on the guitar things that you've sort of discovered, tones and chords, and started, other ways to play that you haven't been writing in that style before?
Absolutely. A lot of subtle little things. That's what's so neat about. I mean, also, I always struggled with self-acceptance, and so even private, like solo practice, was hard, because as I think Branford Marsalis, I think maybe talked about, time spent with your instrument is time spent with yourself. And if you hate yourself, it's hard to, time spent with your instrument is time spent with your own limitations in most cases, especially in like a woodshedding kind of practice situation. And that used to bum me out, and now I love it. So finding the edge of what I can do and really kind of honing in on it, and not because I hate it, or just because there's joy there. That's the edge of my limitation. That's fun. And I don't have to feel stupid for it. That's just how my body and my brain work. And just, I don't know, self-acceptance has made that meandering time playful. And I'm not even playing the guitar, I'm playing this guitar, unless I'm playing another one, and then I'm playing it, and they all have something different in them if I'm being all the way there. And I'm learning to play a bit with myself, as it were. And there isn't that much more downtime, honestly, with 2 kids and just trying to figure out a bunch of different stuff. It's been very busy, but when I do have downtime, and I wonder how should I be spending my time, I usually just say, cool, sit down on my bed or on the couch or whatever, and just play, just strum songs or not songs, whatever.
That's fantastic. So this idea of self-acceptance, that's something that is very difficult for a lot of us to really kind of get our heads around and get to that place. Is there anything that helped you get to where you are? Because I know that's something you've talked about in the past as being a very difficult thing, and it sounds like and during this quarantine, you've kind of reached that in some ways.
I have. It's a brick by brick kind of process. It feels like, and something that I've been struggling with for years. You know, I didn't know. I was on the Pete Holmes podcast in 2000 teens something, and I was talking, and he said, "Oh, it sounds like you hate yourself. Like, what's up with that?" And it was the first time that I understood, oh yeah, I really hate myself. And slowly figuring out why, in your late 30s and early 40s, and especially if, there are other extenuating circumstances, it's been a trick. There's a basic thing of what it is that when you're with yourself, you either can or you can't. And when I can't, I think, okay, well, what am I afraid of happening if I just accept this part of myself? What will the fallout be in my mind or beyond? What kind of rejection might I face from other people, or I have to let go of this narrative about myself or that? And usually just sitting and trying to tease out whatever it is that time that prevents me from just accepting myself and accepting where I'm at and accepting what's going on. Recently, this writer, Heather Haberlasky, who is the Ask Polly advice columnist, has a book or two that one of them, and her columns have really been helping me a lot. But I'm just always trying to find people who are speaking that language and giving insights into their own battle with self-acceptance and just accepting reality. Really, it's about accepting what reality is and not just yourself. And then Midnight Gospel, actually on Netflix, this show that with Duncan Trussell and others, is another one that has really helped me recently.
Okay, I saw the first episode. I haven't watched beyond that.
Well, the second episode features Anne Lamott.
Really?
Yeah, and
that's twice in a week that Anne Lamott has been referenced on Happiest Hour.
Great.
I feel like I'm doing something right.
Yeah, and it just it's really great from there. It's a show about acceptance. Well, I thought of that first episode because the doctor guy who's on there, I forget what their name is, Drew Pinsky maybe, was saying, yeah, it's about accepting reality, but that show goes on to be about facing death and meditation and magic and spirituality and psychology and a lot of things, and it's great. If it piqued anyone's interest at all, get to episode 8. It's a good ride, and then that's just a very beautiful episode of television.
Well, episode 8, okay. Well, episode 2, Anne Lamott, that sounds great. So
it's great. Yeah. She's great. It's a really twisted one in a certain way. The visuals are pretty rad.
The visuals are very cool.
But yeah, and they change. The different worlds are bizarre, and then also another show that's really been bringing me a lot of comfort in finding self-acceptance and finding acceptance of reality is that Joe Pera Talks With You show. There's a strong baked-in self-acceptance that permeates from the show, and Joe
and kindness,
yeah,
which feels almost surprising when you see it on a TV show.
Yeah, it's so great. So those are three things that have been helping me in terms of media stuff. Also just music. I don't know. Really, the tool that you need is right there. Everything that you need to accept yourself is here. But it's a scary leap that I've had to make over and over again until it kind of stuck. And the ways that you are, the ways that I was when I wasn't accepting myself, despite my best efforts, are embarrassing to me. And now I'm cool with even that. So
Well, that's great. Well, I'm so glad to hear this, David.
Yeah.
So, has that affected the songs that you find yourself wanting to play from your catalog? Are there songs that feel like they speak to you more now, and others that maybe just don't feel as comfortable putting out there?
Well, I've always, from the beginning of my public music output, I have abandoned songs. You know, there's a song called Promise that I stopped playing in 1999, I think, you know, and haven't played it since. And so the list was really big, and especially as I've gone through changes in faith and whatnot, it made some songs feel off limits to me. And because of the better self-acceptance that I've been having, I spend time actually listening to the cringiest, what I feel are the cringiest songs of mine, and coming from the weirdest place, as an exercise of just sitting and contemplating that guy who wrote that song and is singing it with all of his heart, and just finding acceptance and compassion for that guy. And so it's meant a lot more of my songs. Like, I do a live stream on Wednesdays that is kind of, it's not kind of, it's prepared. Like, I practice a set and it's a show. And then on Tuesdays, I just got done with it before this, I do an impromptu one that's mostly just talking and questions and hanging out, punctuated with mostly requests that the people have who tuned in. And during that, I've been playing a lot of songs that, you know, that really actively bother me in certain ways, but then there's context, because we talk about it a little before and after and put it into context. Yeah, I've enjoyed way more of my own music and have re-accepted way more of my own music in the last month or so, and that's actually been both a practice of self-acceptance and then like this sort of cascading result of self-acceptance.
Well, that is really cool to hear, because my faith journey is, I think, kind of similar to yours. It just I was a little later to the party and kind of where I was going through there, but I listen to your old songs and I don't find them cringy at all. Like, I think, I mean, they still hit me in the way they hit a very different version of me back then, but there's so much, I don't know, I mean, yeah, the context is everything. It's you're listening to history, you're listening to a piece of your past, or at least what I recognize as a fan of Pedro the Lion as a piece of my past, and it feels right.
I'm getting to that place more and more, and just all of the contradictions, so-called, and all of the changing perspectives and the way that they got sort of crystallized at that moment. It's complexity that is part of what makes self-acceptance so hard, because you can't have just like a clear, this is who I am, this is how I can summarize myself in public kind of relationship with yourself. You accept all of this complexity and all of these changes, and these are that's one of the things I've been getting interested in. Is some of them might be coming from a place that is embarrassing now, and so I might want to recast, you know, any of the songs that I could recast in my new mind, I would play. But even that recasting of where it's coming from, or a different perspective, and denying what I was thinking when I first wrote it, is kind of a game that I don't want to be playing anymore. I just want to sort of, and that said, these songs all grow and change and morph, and I do that with them myself. That's what I enjoy about performing. But to really sit and explore where my mind was at that time, and kind of, I don't know, we all have that. We all have this arc of thought, and it used to embarrass me, and now I'm fascinated by it, and think that the better I understand it, the less stupid mistakes I will make in my life.
Well, that sounds incredibly healthy and mature, so that's awesome.
We'll see.
So what's the third song you're going to play for us today?
I've been closing all my sets with this song recently, because it's a gift that I kind of got. so corny. Why am I talking like that? It's a gift that I got at the end of making Phoenix. This was a song. It's Quietest Friend, and it's this little kind of. This is just this piece that I share with myself in a way that I've had writing experiences like it, but I never quite as closely connected with my subconscious as when this song was happening. And yeah, it's, to me, it's the benediction that I believe I want to give to myself at the end. So I'm going to do that here too. But do you want to talk more in a second, or are we going out?
We'll talk some more. Do you want to wait and have this? Okay.
Yeah.
Because after you play it, we'll bring Tim on and do a quick little toast and say goodbye.
That's cool.
Cool. All right. Well, I know you love taking questions from the audience, so I'm going to throw it out. I've been kind of following along. It seems like some of your Twitch fans came from the last one to this one and have continued on their conversation. It's kind of funny.
They're all pretty tight bros now.
Yeah. So I'll see if there's anybody's got a question. In the meantime, so after, what was it, a dozen years? No, it wasn't that long, but it was a long gap between Pedro the Lion albums. So what is the next one?
It was 15 years.
It was 15 years, yeah.
I think so. Something like that. No, maybe it's shorter.
So is the next album Pedro or David or?
Yep. I mean, I'm working on a Pedro record now, and depending on when it comes out, and I'm pretty sure that when I get done with this Pedro record, I'll just start writing the next one. So I have a few kind of in my mind as like these companion things, and there's 5 of them total, and so this is the second one. Phoenix was the first, and I just really started a couple weeks ago. It really started coming again. Like I was writing it last fall, and in December I decided to postpone the writing of the record, in large part because the material required more self-acceptance than I had at the time, and so I kind of stopped working on the record to go get some more. And a couple weeks ago, it just kind of something clicked, and I had enough, and then all of a sudden it just started interrupting my day, and that was great. So yeah, I'm working on Havasu is the name of the record.
So someone asked, what is a good Anne Lamott book to start with?
I think Traveling Mercies is the only one that I really know. I'm not as much of a reader as I'd like to be. Am I getting that right?
Traveling Mercies, yeah. That was the first one I read, and I'm trying to remember the novel of hers that I read after that. But Traveling Mercies is a classic. That's a great answer and a great place to get on that.
Yeah.
Someone else asks what your favorite meal during lockdown has been.
We make rice and beans. I'm half Mexican and grew up eating beans and rice made by my Mexican grandparents and my dad, who brought their recipes home to our house. And we have a variation where we just had it last night. We cook up a big pot of pinto beans and some rice that has a lot of tomato in the liquid that you cook it in, and onion and whatnot. And sometimes we're making burritos. Sometimes, last night it was nachos. There's this nacho cheese with Beechers and cream cheese in it that our daughter, our 15-year-old, likes to make. And so yeah, we had it last night. There's some in the fridge. I like it because then later just make a bowl of rice and beans and make a fried egg on it and hot sauce or whatever, and it just kind of keeps on being a great dinner.
That sounds delicious. So, are you finding yourself getting outside much, like seeing a little bit of nature and?
Yeah, I have I I am spoiled. We have a park about a quarter of a mile from our house that is a wooded area with four different trails in it that are, I don't know, if you walk each section of trail in a kind of a strategic way, you can walk about a mile and a half in there, and so I go there every day, in part because I want to. I feel like if I didn't, I'm not being very kind to the people that don't get to have this park by them. I want to utilize the resource, and it, it's helped me to. I am my kid self when I'm in there in a way that's pretty cool, and I've been learning to not. I don't even bring music anymore or anything. Sometimes the more often that I leave my phone at home. Which is weird. I feel like I have to tell everybody, like, "Hey, I'm leaving my phone." If the owl gets me, I'll crawl back home as soon as I can. But yeah, I go in there with nothing, just my clothes, and remember what that used to be like, and just walk. And it's been amazing. And now I know. Yeah, just to know some woods, kind of intimately, is a pretty big treat.
That has been a balm for me. Is just to get out in nature, listen to the birds, and just
Yeah.
be. I did it this morning before everybody was awake, and yeah, that's getting me through this time, I think.
Yeah, and I've for a while before I got super busy, I was pretty obsessed with the various golden/magic hours, 2 a day that everybody kind of gets unless it's cloudy, and I've been trying to show up for those as often as possible. Just like sometimes I'll just look it up for 2 or 3 days and set timers, alarms for myself, like, hey, stop what you're doing, go outside and see magic hour, and
Yeah. This is when Seattle is spectacular, if I remember
it's
correctly.
really good. Yeah, it's a good place. I also feel lucky that they the governor and everybody worked really hard with that first flare up out here, and everybody's taking it serious, and that feels good.
That's great.
Seattle's neat.
Well, Kristen Ressler asks, how does your family, extended also, feel about you being kind of the voice for healing and recovery from evangelical abuse? Is it ever discussed?
No, I think it's a complicated feeling that different of my family members have. I think our the four of us here at our house. I don't think that really comes up. Although our daughter and I were talking last night, she is she's asking her and her friends. Yeah, she's. I don't know how to say it. Yeah, we just had conversations about all of that, and she was blown away the more that she understands the difference in how my wife and I grew up versus how she's growing up, and certain pressures and things from just the culture that we grew up in. What was the question?
How do they feel
right.
about you being the kind of the voice for healing and recovery from evangelical abuse?
Yeah, I don't know that it's on my kids' radar, and Anne appreciates it, but she just has a different relationship with the music than anybody else, and but yeah, my extended family, I don't know what they see and don't see. It is uncomfortable in certain ways, and I'm not trying to wave it in anybody's face any more than I do just by being around and singing my songs and being myself. But yeah, it can, depending on the person. There's a couple of extended family members who I've run into in the last couple years that I could tell that they understand that that's what I'm doing in some ways anyways, is just processing my own long journey from that way of life and thinking and culture, and it's the people who are also feeling uncomfortable in that culture that tend to get it, and the ones who are trying to keep everybody where they're at in that culture and keep themselves there have pretty complicated feelings about it, I think.
So we were talking a little bit just during sound check about how, when all this is over, the idea of not getting back to just what it was. Are there things that you hope to see us as a society come out of this better, stronger, differently?
Yeah, I mean, a more needs-based economy would be great, I think. We spend there's just so much effort and resources spent for the luxury of some, while others are just not having their basic needs met. And I think there's a way that it doesn't have to be that way. And I think there's many ways to achieve that. And I wonder if, most of us are sort of taking stock of what our real basic needs are for the first time, because there isn't a lot of other choices. You just, you get your groceries and you do, it's a much simpler life that a lot of people are living, and maybe that'll get us in the habit of, I for one can't see, I don't know, it's a complicated situation, but I can't see myself going back to the same mindset of just not knowing, of not being aware of the fact that my consumption, my kind of measured and unmindful or conscious consumption of things actually is bad for people in the system. And just, I think, I'm going to be more of a hippie than I ever was, I think, after this, and just really trying to live more simply and, realize like I don't need the things that I thought I needed to be at peace, and really like to focus on those things and get rid of all the other stuff so that I can be free, and then maybe I can help other people be free. But I think I don't see myself going back into that mindset. And in the household here, there's aspects of this forced way of being that is really beautiful, and I think that I'll say no to a lot more outings forever now. I think I'm gonna try to stay where my bedroom is way more often, for sure.
Oh, that's great. Well, you had a beautiful intro to this song, so well, I think this will probably time it about right. We'll keep going if not, but
heck yeah, you do. I'll just do what I need to do.
All right.
There needs to be more music, I can do that too. Okay, here we go. Staving off rejection, which always hurt like hell. I took the devil's bargain, made a stranger of myself. If anything was wrong, I couldn't tell.
traded my own wisdom for a jury of my peers. I ignored you for 40 years. You don't have to tell me how hard it must have been for you to let me in. Nothing lasts forever. Now I understand. I hurt you again, my quietest friend. Fifth grade in the lunchroom, fickle friends were telling jokes, making you the punchline of some random thing I wrote. They were looking at me to land the final blow. Just to be included went straight up to my head. I thought the joke too stupid for it to matter what I said. I was wrong, but I went along with it. You don't have to tell me how hard it must have been for you to let me in. Nothing lasts forever. Now I understand. I hurt you again, my quietest friend. We could write me some reminders, I'd memorize them. I could sing them to myself and whoever's listening. I could put them on a record about my hometown. Sitting here with pen and paper, I'm listening now.
Woo!
Thank you.
All right, and it looks like we got perfect timing here.
Good work.
Tim
Oh, what's
Burgess,
up?
welcome. Audio is connecting.
Hiya.
Hey, Tim.
How's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
All right. Did you need me to sound check something or?
You could strum and we'll hear if it works. But we are live. There we go. Cool. Well, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Tim, David, do you guys know each other?
I don't
Hey,
know.
David.
Hi, Tim. It's nice
How's
to
it going, mate? You all right?
David Bazan,
Yeah.
Tim Burgess. This is so great to have you both here. So, what we do at this part of the show is we do a toast, and I don't know if either of y'all have drinks in your hand or
Oh, I've
nearby.
got a cup of something.
Cup of something, that'll work.
Yeah. I got a cup of something here.
All right. So, I wanted to start us out today. A lot of times here we toast the first responders, people who are doing stuff on the front lines, but I also want to toast the artists who are finding creative ways to just get people together and still feel like we have some kind of community. And both of you guys are doing this. Dave Bazan, you were doing it right before you got on the show with your Twitch streaming and all these fans here. Tim, you've been doing it all day with your listening parties, and I played Magic Numbers for the first time in forever earlier today because I just saw that pop up on your Twitter feed, and I was like, oh my God, I love this band, and I haven't listened to them forever. So to the artists getting creative and bringing us all together, cheers.
Cheers.
David, who else should we be toasting today?
I think the parents who are trying to learn new ways of existing with their kids and their spouses and their partners and their figuring out how to parent through this is a trick, and I know that some people have it way harder than what we're dealing with here, and it's really it's the most stressful thing to be a parent and wonder how this is going to go for everybody, and dealing with the depression that comes for kids.
It's always a challenging thing. Right now it's just even more so. So to all the parents out there, we salute you. Cheers. How about you, Tim? Who else should we be toasting today?
Oh, well, I think that definitely the teaching, the homeschooling is definitely something, and I know that firsthand. Although, I've been pretty lucky because I actually live in a small village in the Norfolk countryside, so it's kind of very. It's when we go outside, there's nobody around really, so it's kind of, very very fortunate. I don't know who else. I can't think right now, but I mean, it just seems like maybe all the. I think you probably said it. The nurses and the doctors who are kind of like, and the bus drivers and the people who were considered a few months ago to be unskilled, but are actually. They're the ones who are kind of like doing it for me.
Absolutely.
Yes, the essential workers. May we always treat them like they're essential workers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, great. Well, David, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people catch you tomorrow on your live stream?
If you Google Twitch and Pedro the Lion, I think that it'll take you there.
It'll take you there. All right. Thanks so much, David.
Yeah, see you. Nice to see you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. So, Tim, you've had a busy day.
Yes. Very much so. A bit of homeschooling, like we were talking about, but I don't really do that, that much. I just kind of like talk to him about, about the virus and, stuff that he needs to know about and things like that, and sharks and things like that. But and then just doing interviews for the album that I've got coming out, and then 3 listening parties tonight. I mean, it's now it's like 10 to 11 my time now. So we did one at 8, one at 9, and one at 10. Hannah Tell, Beth Orton, and Throwing Muses.
Fantastic. Well, congrats on the new album. It comes out the 22nd. Is that right?
Yeah, 22nd. Yeah, so Friday.
Which is this Friday.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I know. I'm really looking forward to it. It's kind of. I would never have imagined that I would be releasing a record under these kind of conditions, and it's, I would, if you would have asked me a couple of months ago what it was going to be like, I would never have said this.
Yeah, this is a challenging time for anybody with a new album coming out. You pour everything into a piece of art like this, and you want to be able to go share it with people in sweaty clubs and get the
Yeah.
audience's response. And
Exactly,
you know,
exactly.
now here we are on Zoom, and but we're so glad to have you here and that you're going to share some music with us.
Yeah, I mean, playing acoustic guitar is not really kind of my thing, but I mean, I've been practicing and learning just because, it's kind of a way that I can. I mean, I wrote all the songs on acoustic guitar anyway, but very very slowly.
Yeah. Yeah, when I think of Charlatans, when I think of your solo stuff, I don't think of, a coffee house or a
Yeah.
little acoustic internet thing here. But I'm so excited to hear them this way.
Okay, well, I mean,
So,
I can
what are you going
try
to
and.
play first?
Well, the first one's called Laurie, and it says no capo, so I'm gonna go with that.
All right.
Laurie, it doesn't matter where you're going, baby. All that is important is that you've been dreaming lately. The whole world is there to discover if you need adventure. Dress very carefully, it might not lead to pleasure. See the skies, big and wide, close my eyes, shut them tight. In the sound of my hand, we are living, taking the sun, wanting it all. We have friends in other dimensions. They come with the sweetest intentions, taking the dreams of beautiful things. I'm standing here to protect you. None of these things will affect you. Beautiful scenes expended in dreams. Laurie, it doesn't matter where you're going, baby. All that is important is that you've been dreaming lately. You can't just call me if you need time to recover. There's a meadow and there's a mountain. We could talk forever. See the skies, big and wide. Close my eyes, shut them tight. In the sand, hold my hand. We are living, taking the sun, wanting it all. We have friends in other dimensions. They come with the sweetest intentions, suspended in dreams and beautiful things. I'm standing here to protect you. None of these things will affect you. Beautiful dreams, suspended in dreams. I love the new sky, Laurie. Implicitly, I can't recall a time where I felt this elated. Do you feel the same thing? We have friends in other dimensions. They come with the sweetest intentions, suspended in dreams and beautiful things. I'm standing here to protect you. None of these things will affect you. Beautiful things suspended in dreams. Beautiful things suspended in dreams. Beautiful things suspended in dreams. I love the new sky, Laurie. I love the new sky, Laurie. I'm here to tell your story in all its glory, Laurie. It doesn't matter where you're going, baby. All that is important is that you're still dreaming.
Woo! Somehow that song is even sweeter on acoustic guitar. So, my wife is named Lori, spelled differently, but it sounds the same. And man, that song is a gift to me. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, I like this song. Yeah, it's a good one.
It is a good one. So, it's the last song on "I Love the New Sky," and it's where the title of the album comes from.
Yeah.
So you wrote this album basically where you are right now, living kind of miles from the nearest anything, and the, I mean, as middle of the nowhere as you can get in England. You know, in the U.S. we get way more middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But what made you end up where you are now?
Well, after spending 12 years in Los Angeles, I moved to London, and then kind of had a son, and kind of like felt that kind of like country living was the way to go. Chickens, and not that I don't have chickens or anything like that, but there's chickens down the road and in the village and stuff like that. But there's a lot of trees, and I thought that it was a good kind of environment to bring up a little boy, really. And also there's water quite close, so it's not called an ocean, it's called a sea. But it's a good sea, and we're close to that as well. So it's kind of quite a good environment, and I just found writing. I was inspired when I came here. I felt a little bit stifled in the city. I don't know whether it was, just, I mean, I've always grown up in the city. Sorry, always gravitated towards the city. And spent a lot of my time in the city, but I just felt that it was a time for something different. You can't get much more further away than Los Angeles than where I am now.
It is very different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, listening to these songs, it seems like you're in a good place. It seems like this is an album that is the result of I mean, you lived a very full life. It's been a life of rock and roll stardom and all that comes with that. And not everybody comes to the other side of that and moves to the country to be a good dad. You talk a little bit about just that journey and getting to where you are now?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think obviously I'm just going to throw this out there, but I feel like I've done it all in a way, with the kind of the band took off in 1990, and I was 22 years old, and I was quite a young 22-year-old. I was kind of still searching for lots of things, and discovery, and I was had a #1 record when I was 22. And then traveled the world, and I just always thought it was just going to be like a one-hit wonder, and then it just seems to just happen again and again and again. And I absolutely love it, But I've slipped on a few banana skins, if you know what I mean, along the way, and but got back up again, and now I just the apples. So.
Well, the album that came from that is fantastic, and so glad you're here with us today sharing some of that music. Somebody just said, Jesus, Tim Burgess, it's younger you're getting. And I'm looking at our two faces side by side. I'm like, how is this dude older than me? That doesn't seem possible.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm very, yeah, well, I'm not saying, I don't know. You look good, man. You look good. I don't know. I can't see me really. I can, you know, I can see a little square, but my glasses, I don't wear my glasses when I perform.
There you
So,
go. Well, that makes me feel better. All right, all right.
yeah, yeah.
So, what are you going to play for us next here?
Well, I can do Empathy for the Devil, which is the first track on the album, which I enjoy playing that.
I enjoy hearing that.
It's got a little bit of Boys Don't Cry by The Cure at the start. I hope no one gets upset by that. But, angels take flight, good girls with them tonight. Get thee behind me, dark nights they find me. Woo! Resisting temptation, you took me to the mountain. Lord, I stood my ground as thunder came a drawing. And the thing for the devil, rescue me. Is that jealousy? What you want to know? Empathy for the devil. Empathy. Matinee feature, gothic creature. Let's not turn this into a fight. I have capacity, there's nowhere I would rather be. Not there yet, but yes, what's in the world tonight? Empathy for the devil will be. Is that jealousy? What you want to meddle? Empathy for the devil. Empathy. Make me magnificent in a world less innocent, like all bad ideas seem a good one at the time. I'm hoping the affection affects you, and all your imperfections perfect you. Not there yet, but it's all gonna work out fine. Empathy for the devil. What will be, will be. Is that jealousy? What you want to meddle? Empathy for the devil. Empathy for the devil. Empathy. What you wanna meddle? Empathy for the devil.
Tim, thank you so much for doing this. The last question I've got for you, something we ask everybody on the show, is what is the piece of art that is getting you through this? A TV show, a book, and somebody else's album? What do you find yourself drawn to right now that we're all stuck at home?
Definitely a record by Julia Holter called Aviary, and to watch. That record. I just get so many I mean, it's a big sprawling record, and I get so much from it. And then Mandalorian, watching that with my 7-year-old. So.
Oh, fun! Fantastic.
And so that's kind of like that is just like that's saved our Friday nights.
Yeah, that's a very fun show.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. So, the album is out Friday. I Love the New Sky. Available everywhere. People can join your listening parties. How often do you do that?
Every day. I mean, we started. At first it was going to be 10 o'clock every night, except for the weekends. But it just became such a big thing that we were now doing like 3 or 4 a night, every night, and that we've done over 150 already, and there's 100 at least to come. So
That's amazing. Well, I love that you're such a champion of other people's music, and it's been a joy. Thank you so much.
yeah. Thanks so much. Have a great one.
All right.
Take care.
care,
See you.
Tim.
Bye, man. Bye.
Bye.